All right, now today we're going to talk about a few things like falsetto usage in the male voice. And along the way we will compare this to the female voices. But countertenors or falsettists really sing with a combination of falsetto and chest voice. And the women, the female singers, especially the big ones, do the same thing. So you will hear all kinds of strange clucks sometimes in the dramatic sopranos, and some female singers avoid the chest voice completely, and some of them exploited it. Celestina Bonicena was famous for her chest tones, but even Rosa Poncelle, some of the great Italian singers, my favorite singer I ever heard live was Zinka Milanov, and Milanov used chest all the time in the low part. And you'll hear them doing a funny kind of cluck. In fact, we used to make fun of it, we used to laugh at it, because now, because of German influence on singing in America, especially, we now avoid the chest voice like mad. And when we do, we very often have the ladies singing with a tremolo. Now, if I sing, and I sing on my staccato point, let's say. Now if I put that in my nose, ma, 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 the voice is getting weaker, so I have to lift my soft palate or something to color. So I go, ma, and you can see all the tension in my vein, my tendons are sticking out, all kinds of things are happening. And it's interesting that Rosa Poncelle, in an interview, they were talking about how she learned music. She said, oh, I'm a pianist, I learn music very easily. She said, the problem is singing it. Once you learn it, it's all sitting up in your head where you've learned it and you've concentrated like mad to memorize all this stuff. And especially new roles you haven't sung before. Sometimes you review roles and they're easier to get under control. But a brand new part, she said, the only way that you can approach new music that you're learning is to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And she said it 3 times in the interview, and I always wondered about that. So if you are training countertenors, or you're training the female voices in general, what do I do to get tone and color in the voice? If the voice is, ah, what should I do? Should I push it more in my nose? Can't get any more sound without doing something to modify my throat. Now let's go back to the old rules of singing. The first rule was no action in the throat. The second rule was no change of emission. So Lily Lehmann talked about the breath stop all the time. She said stop the breath. The breath's on the way out. And you stop it. You do not let it continue. See? Caruso told Rosa Poncelle to keep a horizontal rectangle in the back of her neck at all times. If I do that, what do I get? So now we're starting to get a little bit more color in the voice. But when I did that, I moved something backward, back and in. What was that? So my resonance came more up here, higher, and it's very important to identify the mask. This is not the mask. This is the false mask. It's going through my nose. So the only way I can get color and not be nasal is to sing above this. Ma, ma, ma. So if I go, if I try to bring that sound more in my nose, it gets nasal again. Then the sound doesn't carry. So I try to improve this sound constantly. How do I improve the sound? That sound, if it's the basis of my voice, ma, what am I going to do to improve it now? Ma. So you see a lot of the ladies singing with their jaws pulled down to here. And they put their heads down, and they go, and it gets it out of the nose. All this activity finally causes soft palate to rise and shuts off the nose. There are easier ways to do it. Just say Bob, say a consonant that is not nasalized. Say, instead of saying ma ma ma, say ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba, 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 ba. You can work on that and get it to sound pretty good. I don't have the kind of voice that really sounds very good in falsetto, so I never really tried to develop falsetto. When I was in college, I sang the alto parts in Bach's Magnificat, but it wasn't very good. So I leave that to my real my real countertenor or real alto colleagues, and they do it a lot better. So the question is, we go back and we look for some kind of rules, advice. What did the great singers say about how to take a tone and improve it? If I go, ah, ah, how do I improve that tone? Well, Tetrasini said, breathe, put the first drop of air down the lower rear quadrant of your lungs. Rear quadrant. So I breathe. And then she said, lean the ladder, lean it, that's like the bottom of a ladder. Now take the ladder and lean it on your sternum. So I go, and now I'm in Lily Lehman's breath stop area, and they're all using something, the Italians call it il punto d'appoggio, the point of leaning. So I'm going to breathe, put on the breath stop, and then sing. So if I do this, now, how do I increase the tone? You also have things like breathe the tone in. Singing is inhaling. Caruso said in his book that the ah vowel is very, very far back in the throat and low in the throat. Who sings that way, right, besides Caruso? And he told Rosa Poncel to keep the rectangle in the back of her neck all the time. Who do we know sings that way? Well, millions of people sing that way. They're called babies. They go, ah, 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 ah. Now where is that? Ah, ah, ah. So if I sing like that, and I go, breathe, first drop of air in the lower rear quadrant. Then I put the breath stop on it. I lean the ladder. And then I look for this, where is that? Where is that? See? That throws the resonance way above my nose. So I've got my staccato point right where the breath stop is. So if I can breathe, and I can sing down to this breath stop point and go, oh, oh. So you hear these singers using chest voice, the women using chest voice going, oh, we just call it clucking. They cluck like big chickens. They go, oh, oh. But what that does, it gives them access to the air in the air column, the posture of the breath, which is from the lower back up against the chest like this. Oh, if I do that, I can vibrate the air inside my body. No, the Caruso quote, you should feel the tone vibrating all inside your body. Rosa Poncel said, deeper and deeper and deeper. Kirsten Flosted said she felt like her voice was coming from the center of the earth. How deep is that? So I go, oh. If I want tone, power, I shouldn't be yelling and pushing my air. I should simply increase access to my air. Now, another rule in singing, the bigger the drum, the bigger the sound. If I have a snare drum, it goes rat-a-tat-tat. If I play a little bongo drum, it goes tat-tat, no. But what does a big drum sound? I would take the head off that snare drum that went rat-a-tat-tat and put it on top of a big congo drum, and it goes boom, boom, boom. The point is that the bigger the air bucket, the bigger the sound. So if I take this sound, and I have no sound because I'm singing from here up. So what I get in my nose, and then the ladies get these thin sounds, nasal sounds, a lot of tremolos are happening. If I push too hard, I start to wobble. So the idea is to access the air in your drums. And you got two drums in your chest, in your lungs. You got two lungs in your chest. So you breathe in a way that gains access to the bottom of the lung. And then now we're back to tetracene. The first drop of air goes in the lower rear quadrant of the lungs. So I'm going to breathe like that. I'm going to put the breath stop on. And there it is. So my breath was going out. And I stopped it. Where is that? See? Breathe in. Another way to find it is just to staccato. Breathe after a big breath. So breathe. Where is that? If I go up, and the voice disappears, it gets thinner, it gets uglier, it gets more nasal. What if I can stay on the punta de poncho? What if I stay there? Not in my nose anymore, not nasal, goes up in my head voice, up here, and that's what they call the true mask. This is the false mask, the one in the M. There have been a lot of singers that who have wonderful natural voices, but they get in that M position, the resonance, and sing. And the problem is you can sound like you're singing there. I can sing there. It sounds like I'm singing until you get an orchestra between me and you. If there is an orchestra sound, that nasal position does not project. So Caruso said in his book, one of the first things right in the beginning of his book, he said, never sing in the nasal cavity. It's against all the rules of song. And the reason was they didn't have microphones. There was no enhancement, no electronic enhancement in those days. Think about it. So you stood on the stage and not only had to deliver the tones that these composers wrote with high notes and low notes and loud and so, but you also had to deliver text. And text was brand new in those days. Those were new operas, a lot of them, right? So how do I make my tones heard? Do I go, how are you today? It's so nice to see you. I mean, I really do have to do a lot of serious closing of the pillars of the fauces and narrow and make a canal and go, and it's really, even if I take a deep breath, I go, it's a little better, but I can't really access the air bucket. I want to get in my air box. I want to get down here in my drums and go. So I go. Everything is loose up here, and the air column, the posture of the breath is like this, and my air column is open in a very relaxed way. I don't open my throat like this by yawning, and I certainly don't do this. The alligator, if I do that, there comes the voice out of place and it goes, it's in my nose. So I still have to do something anyway, even if I do this. So what really should we do? Well, we try to follow some logical, really sensible solutions, and then we look at what old singers had to say. Great singers that had fabulous voices in the auditorium over an orchestra. Some of them sounded just huge. I've heard everybody since about 58, let's say 59, 58, 59. I started listening to singers, and I'm here today. This is February of 2019, so that's quite a few years listening to singers. When you ask them how they sang, right? I asked Birgit Nilsson, and she didn't say much, so I just sang. But one of my students went to get an autograph from Birgit Nilsson, and Nilsson was sitting at a table signing autographs, and the girl was standing to her right like this. And so she said, "Oh, Ms. Nilsson, how do you sing your high notes?" And Nilsson, so she turned around and went whack and hit this girl on the abdomen and said, "Fix your breathing, and you'll get your high notes." Simple. Now, so let's go back to breathing. Breathing has all these wonderful things it does. It loosens the throat. When I breathe, it relaxes my throat, and I get a vertical opening, a vertical open throat. Right? Breathe. If I smile, I get the horizontal open throat. So that's the horizontal shape, the rectangle in the back of the neck. How are you today? It's so nice to see you. Now, if I breathe, I can go. How are you today? How are you today? How are you today? So I can go, how are you today? I'm I'm going to say anything I want to say. You'll be able to understand it if I keep my words right there and my breath right here and my breath right here. So we have all these considerations. We have stamina. We have projection. We have clarity of diction. We have all these things we're supposed to worry about. High notes, low notes, loud, soft, right? So what is boiled down to us from great singers? People who got on the stage and sang for 40 years. I sang myself for 40 years. I don't mean to say I'm a great singer, I was a great singer, but I sang, at least I'll be 81 in about 4 or 5 weeks from now. I'll be 81 years old. I'm 80 now. And I can still get some sounds out, and I just have great fun doing it. I'm sorry if you don't like it or you don't agree with it. I don't really care. At my age, I should worry. So there was a very popular technique. I did a video on it called inhaling the voice. Inhalare la voce. This is crucial for ladies and for countertenors. Think about it. I'm going to sing in my head voice, ooh, or my falsetto. Ooh. Now, if I sing in my falsetto, how I get it to sound? Well, I use the inhalation technique, and I go, ah, 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 ah. So how do I make volume and color and power? Not in my nose. I'm not pulling my jaw down like that, like the wide mouth frog. What am I doing then? See? Guess what? Where is that? Where is my point of leaning of the breath? Where is my point of phonation? They used to name it. They used to name these points, right? Look, read a bunch of old books on singing. The point of phonation is right here. It's my staccato point in the back of my neck after I take a deep breath. Ich hört ein Bächlein rauschen, wo aus dem Felsenquell. I can sing anything there that I want to sing there, right? Breathe. You can speak any language there. Te non trago di sottiliada. Right? Como está usted? Think about it. You say everything right here. Comment allez-vous? Right? So how do I get this thing, this megaphone? I'm creating a megaphone back there. I'm going, where is it? That's why coloratura is so healthy for the voice, because it makes you hold it here. Now we get into something called the down bow. If I want this to stay smooth and even and stay on the punto, I don't accent. It's not only for dramatic effect, and we really shouldn't do it ever. It's not the bel canto style. Bel canto style is everything legato. So I should go like that. And I should not go, I shouldn't be hitting my voice. Listen to a great singer, and they go, sweet cheese. And they very often sing a big chest note on the low note, especially Boninsegna. I even made John Sutherland, even Zinka Milanov. So the idea is that once I start singing, I'm going to set up some parameters. I'm always going to breathe down on my lower back. I'm always going to lean my breath on a punta d'appoggio, which is a response to the staccato after I take a deep breath. So if I bend over, get a big breath, way down my bottom, way down my lower back, I stand up and I do a staccato. Now where's my voice? Where is that? I'm going to sing on that point no matter what. See? In van nascondo la mia vera tortura. I'm going to do it also if I want to be a countertenor, which I said I don't think it'll be a very good one. But I'm going to sing on my point of phonation and try to let that give me access to the air bucket, so I have volume and color and I don't have to push. You never push your voice. You must find a way for the voice to resonate without you pressing anything on your voice. All you do is take a breath. Where is my point of leaning of the breath? Where is my point of phonation? It is not in my nose. See? How do I gain more color? I suck it in. I go, here's out. Here's halfway. What happens if I keep sucking it in until I can gain access to my breath, to my air box? So I go. So you hear these old-time ladies going, and some of them were famous for their huge chest notes. Maria Callas used them. Everybody I ever heard, all the big singers, all the big sopranos I ever heard who sang the Italian repertoire used that clucking sound. And a lot of the German singers didn't use it. Someone like Leonie Rieseneck had one of the greatest voices ever, fabulous voice, but she didn't use chest tone. So she was always sort of weak in her voice on her low notes, in spite of the fact that up above, it was one of the biggest voices ever heard. Birgit Nilsson didn't like to use chest notes either. She used them occasionally, but she didn't really like to use them very much, right? But you listen to Zinka Melanoff, who was the greatest of them all. Believe me, when Zinka sang a performance, you'd see all the great sopranos who happened to be in New York in the performance. Over here's Birgit Nilsson, over here's Maria Callas, there's Renata Tebaldi. Everybody is sitting in the performance listening to Zinka sing. And boy, Zinka had, let me tell you, Zinka had low notes like boom, like cannons going off. It was fabulous. It shows her the world's best high pianissimo, right? Caballé came on later with great high notes, great high pianissimi, and used some chest voice. But this is the great debate that so many singers have to use. If I go inward, I should be able to go smoothly in and out of there without making these clucking sounds if I don't want to make clucking sounds. See? How useful is that to the singers? See? It all depends on category, so much of it. But this tremoloing and this nasal stuff, it was Caruso. So never seen the nasal cavity. Everybody avoided the nose. So Franco Corelli came to New York and did the master class. He said, all American singer want to sing at the nose. A singer like a singer to the straw. Squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze, he said. And Italian ate to the nose. We ate it. We hate it. And everybody gets up and goes, to Corelli. He was going crazy, right? And then he said, someone said, he was always complaining about their throats were closed, their throats were closed. They were singing through a straw, they're singing narrow, singing with the throat closed. And so finally somebody asked Corelli, tell me, how do you get the throat open? He said, and it went on and on and on. Everybody's like, oh my God. After 2 minutes, he's going, Then he stopped and he said, now you understand? So I don't know if anybody understood or not what he was talking about, but think about it. Where is that? If I go, you know who else used it? Jerome Hines, the bass, used it for over 50 years singing at the Met. Tebaldi used to use the happy gasp or the happy surprise. What are you doing here? Oh, I'm so surprised to see you. Like that. So you go, In other words, the idea is to activate the diaphragm with the throat opening as a result of the activity in the diaphragm, and never open your throat individually, and never, ever open your jaw and spread your mouth. Caruso said in his book, never change the shape of your mouth when you go to a high note. Now think about that. So I'm going to go, there's the shape of my mouth. How are you today? How are you today? I'm gonna go downtown. I'm gonna go downtown. I'm going to go downtown. In other words, the idea is not to use your throat, not to use your jaw, not to use your tongue. Dame Ava Turner, I'm always quoting Ava Turner, she was just fabulous. Listen to her on YouTube, listen to her sing Turandot. They said she was the first Turandot in England. And when you talk to people who heard her live, they say, you know, she had like the biggest voice in the world. It was fabulous, incredibly beautiful, huge upper notes. And when she came to, I was in the Metropolitan Opera, what became the Metropolitan Opera Studio. At that time it was called the Catherine Long School, and you had to win the Met auditions to get into it. And I was there with Shirley Verrett and Justino Diaz. There were some good, really good young singers there. But anyway, Dame Ava Turner came to give master classes. And really it was like, you know, there were 6 of us, just 6 people there. And you should have heard her talk about the invisible throat and the invisible jaw and the invisible tongue. So I breathe. And now what do I do? What is that? Where is that? It's not my nose. Where is it? It's not in my throat. Not my tongue. So what's doing? That was her invisible tongue, invisible throat, invisible jaw technique. And she sucked it in. She said, you know, darlings, if you can't work here, you must work somewhere else, mustn't you? So, yes, we did. We learned how to do that. So then when you're singing along and you have to sing some kind of, you know, high tessitura. Oh, let's see. You got it. Now look. Oh, bell'alma innamorata, bell'alma innamorata. How are you today? I'm going to go downtown. Now what would I do? See? Oh, bell'alma innamorata, bell'alma innamorata. So there are exercises you do, believe it or not. Corelli did them, a lot of the singers did it, and they would do deliberate exercises to make sure the nose closed. Joan Sutherland did it, what's her name, Stella did it, Milanoff did it all the time. They were always doing, you hear somebody backstage going, what are they doing? See? That closes the nose and prevents you from singing in the false mask. Your resonance doesn't sing down here, it comes out up there. And when it does that, imagine, I'm going to say, ah, right there. Ah, swallow my throat. Say, ah, ah, ah. Now, what do I do? So Caruso said, far back and low in the throat. Ah, the minute I do that, the minute my megaphone goes like this, my resonance comes up and forward. So we got to make sure that we know what we're trying to get forward. We're trying to get resonance forward, not the word. Don't go ma me 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 ma me 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 ma me 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 ma. You're killing your resonance when you do that. See? If I hit a bell, I don't touch it. I hit the bell and it goes ding. I'm not going to hit this, which is what's supposed to be resonating, and then put pressure all over it and go like and kill my resonance. See? So I'm going to go. Now my throat, my breath went way down and my throat absolutely relaxed. And you can see this old geezer throat here absolutely going. Look at that. And now I go. Where's the activity? It comes out of my lower back and comes up and leans up against my diaphragm, which is here, and goes. I don't really practice this very much. I'm not a very good countertenor. But there are people, there are men who have such beautiful I heard this guy, I can't remember his name, Yorovsky or something like that in Paris. This guy's voice is so beautiful. It's all what the men call falsetto, and a lot of the countertenors don't like to say, no, I'm not a falsettist. I'm really using head. Well, that's right. That's fine. Now, what do I do? What do I do with my head voice? Look, see this? Baba, baby, how are you today? Let's go down there and get something to eat. And you notice the paper doesn't move. Oh, let's go down and get something to eat. The paper does not move. I don't leak any air at all. If I get in my nose, be careful. You have to be careful. If the breath gets up in here, it'll pull the resonance down into this area. And can you believe the singers are actually going yang, 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 giddy, 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 meep, 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 doing everything they can to ruin their voices. A lot of them get damaged doing that. Even if you don't get damaged, though, you've ruined your sound and brought your sound down here in some kind of thin little nasal. Then you have to do all kinds of throat shapes to try to get color. So you're a singer singing with this strange shaped mouth like this. What is that? Or think about it. They put their heads down like this, you know. What happened though? You look at all the videotapes of all the great singers, their heads are up. Joan Sutherland bent over like this and put her head this way. If she'd stood up straight and sung, her head would have been like that, you know. So and you think how long their careers lasted. And the people like Robert Merrill sang till he was 88, and Ivan Kozlowski sings, and he's still singing it at 94. I met him, I actually studied with Lars Melchior when he was 70, and he was still singing, just singing fine. So was Helge Rolfsvanger, who was 69. I worked with him for a year and a half. I'm trying to think of the older singers I worked with. Martinelli was still performing. Giovanni Martinelli was still performing at the Met. When I met him, he was 77. And I said, what did your teacher tell you 65 years ago, or whatever it was at the 60, he said, qui respirare e qui postare. In other words, breathe here and place it here. So if we take a deep breath behind us and go, Manuel Garcia called that a miniature cough. Right? Or you have the breath stop. Exhale and stop it. In other words, you learn how to use il punto d'appoggio, the point of leaning. Lil Lehman called it the Stützpunkt in German, the support place, or hinlehnen, to lean it there, to put it there. Postare is another word where you place it there, right? They prefer to use appoggiare. Pavarotti did a master class in New York, and he said, it's a baby, let's ask him how to breathe. And he said, it's here like a baby, push, push, push. And of course, everybody was being taught at Juilliard to pull in. And he was saying, no, you got to push out. So I asked him later, I said, did you mean push, spingere? So no, so ho sbagliato la parola. I made a mistake with the word. I meant to say, appoggiare, come si dice appoggiare? I said, to lean. He said, to lean. So you don't, if you can see me, I'm leaning on the wall. See that? Yeah, you can see me better. I'm leaning on the wall. Now, shall I push the wall? See? I'm just leaning on the wall. I don't think pushing the wall is going to do a thing except make me grunt and make me tie me up. Every action has an opposite and equal reaction. So if I push down, I get a push up. If I push forward, I get a push back. So the first thing you know, you're like that. Right? Some people think that's resonance. They get them to sing like that. They say, what's a good piece of music? Something like, everybody said, he's a really good singer. It's a pity his voice is so ugly. Well, is that really my voice? Am I really a good singer? No. I do that. What would I want to do? So I take a breath and go, C'est moi, Carmen, de te moquer de moi. Why would I do anything else except sing with a staccato point for the rest of my life? And that's why, at my age, I can still sing it all, because I do not sing with the thick and I don't open. I really was so impressed by Ava Turner, because she sang a few notes, a few phrases around during those classes. She nearly blew the building apart. She blew the roof off, and it was all gorgeous. Just great, just fabulous. And I think we were all a little impressed and brainwashed or something, because from then on, we tried really hard to make this invisible. And if I make it invisible, and I take a deep breath, the entire act of singing happens from here down. I asked Mario Delmonico. Mario Delmonico always leaned right here. You can see he demonstrated. He said, oh my God, he's going to wreck his voice. And he sang Otello 467 times and never had a vocal problem, right? He finally died at 67 of kidney disease, never had a vocal problem. Now, when he's doing that, he's going, un dia sullo spazio guardai profondo. And I asked him, I said, now wait a minute. What happens if it gets up, do you ever get hoarse or tired or anything? He said, oh, no. I never let it get above here. So you must put the stop on it and never let it get here. Tutto fermare qui. He said, right here. So I go, huh. Now the breath is stopped, and that's Lily Lehman's reasoning and her language is that she said, it's a breath stop. So I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to put the stop here and go, That gives me access to my air column, and it makes the sound bigger. There are a lot of different ways to do this. As long as you're being, you're sort of convinced or somewhere that you have to sing, that sound, you have to figure out some way to improve it. And the only thing you have to improve it with is your throat, your soft palate. Your pillars of your fausset. And all these strange shapes in the throats, and people sing with their heads sideways and their mouths are like this. And all these horrible things. I'm going to look at some young soprano on the stage and tell her I love her, and I'm going to do this. No. I love you. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go, I love you, I hate you, I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm happy. What should I do except go, Now I'm going to go, I'm so sad. What do I do? Sono notte. If I want to sing, I should sing everything on the point of leaning. The thing that I lean is the breath, which comes from way back down at the bottom, as Tetrasini said, like a ladder. So here's the bottom of my ladder. The bottom of my ladder is sitting where the first drop of air went into the lower rear quadrant of the lungs. So I do this. Then I lean the breath on the sternum. And then I sing. What am I doing? See? What was she doing? If I could, if I wanted to spend a lot of time practicing, I might get acceptable. I don't know. Frankly, I never auditioned with my falsetto, but there were guys that could do it so much better than me and so much better. And some of my students, I've taught people who've gone off and made these careers as countertenors. And I don't want to compete with them. You know, the competition's tough enough when you're loud, and it's so much easier when you're loud. If you're a countertenor, you better be artistic also, and a good musician, and all kinds of requirements. So if the ladies have to, and the idea is not to imitate me or Rosa Pansel or Birgit Nilsson or Tetrasini or anybody, but to use your own throat and your own breath. You get a young singer who comes in, who's 16 or 17 or 18, freshman in college or something. They haven't trained their inhalation. A lot of kids have never played a wind instrument. They haven't been swimming, never did sports. So they stand up and they go, and I say, take a deep breath in your lower back, and they go, ah, ah, ah. that is correct because it's all they have. See? So it'd be wrong for them to look for more or expect more. They don't have any more. So what you do is say, now start swimming and take karate and play. Pavarotti played tennis. Yeah, you play tennis, you're always bent over like this. Well, it makes you breathe in your lower back. See? All the karate styles, all the Tai Chi's, all done in slow motion. You're like this. And your back is always this way. Now, where do I breathe? One of the great careers for a soprano was Elisabeth Schwarzkopf, German soprano. And she only had one technical thing that she did, which was she would grab her upper lip right here, pinch right there, the base of her nose, those buttons, pinch them and pull down and pull her up. So you'll see her singing. You know, she'll sing like that. And you'll see her actually moving her upper lip down while she's singing. And that was the integral part of her vocal technique. Now, so she called it the elephant's trunk. So she would get hold of this and pull it and go like this. Okay? Now, what am I doing? When I pull that down like that, all of a sudden I've got two choices. I can either talk like this, or I can get it out of my nose and talk like that and say, how now, brown cow? Oh, how are you? It's so nice to see you. And I end up talking. That's one thing they learn in England when they study to be Shakespearean actors. They put their teeth together like this. And they say, oh, how are you today? It's so nice to see you. And then after a while you relax your mouth and you keep the words pronounced in the pharynx. Oh, how are you? Oh, it's so nice to see you. Now is the winter of our discontent. Now is the winter of our discontent. What is a weekend? Now, where are those words? So, the whole idea is that you're trying to make everything, as George London used to say all the time, nothing moves unless the breathing moves it. So if I want this kind of freedom and this kind of looseness, I also undo action with putting action somewhere else. And the breathing action happens way down my lower back, and when I do, I relax this. Now, the breath stop is debatable. Some people Pavarotti uses middle belly. If you watch Pavarotti, he does this. Okay? And he's got, I think, a tape demonstrating. He does that. So why not? So if I hold that still, right, like that. Great way to sing. I was a great admirer of him. I thought he was a wonderful singer. If you do that, and I go, where is my resonance? I'm just going to hold it still. It's not in my nose. So it must be somewhere, and I think I feel it. I think I feel it right here. So Lily Lehman said the true mask is the upper front half of the skull. Here. How do I get it there? I get it there by doing nothing and taking a deep breath way down behind me and then leaning the breath here. You can lean the breath back. Crystal Ludwig leaned backwards. She leaned like that. Well, why not? It certainly achieves what we're trying to do, which is get the voice go up in the head. She was a great singer. And boy, she could sing a really vast repertoire. She sang soprano and mezzo parts all the time. And she's the best Lady Macbeth I ever heard and the best Don Elvira I ever heard. And those were supposedly not even in her Fach, her voice category. But she was the best I ever heard at it. You know? And I think I've heard everybody pretty much over the past 60 years. So where if I breathe behind me, and then I go, and I put my staccato here in the middle of my back, it throws my resonance way up here in my head. And that's the way Ludwig sang. And to discuss singing with her was like, I don't know, sort of like she had her own ideas. Everybody was going, what is she talking about? Well, she was in that old school, singing as inhaling. She was in that school, although she was a German. She used that inhaling method, right? And a lot of singers did. Let's face it. When I inhale and stop the inhalation, I get. It has a name. It's called the Miller maneuver. The forward one is called the Valsalva maneuver. Now I can go. And it's called the Miller maneuver. It's really the same process, and they both happen in the same place, right down here. When you close the glottis, right there, you get a big reaction in your diaphragm, and then you relax your throat, but maintain this reaction that you had, and now it becomes your key action when you sing, and you sing on your diaphragm. If I pull in, I go. So now I'm going to relax my throat completely. You see that? And I'm going to sing in my diaphragm. If you want to sing on the point of phonation, you can sing actually there, but the breath's got to stay down. That means my staccato is now in the back of my, it feels like it's in the back of my neck. Where is that? If you want to keep those vowels back there, you know, I've used it myself a lot, but I don't teach it as much probably as I could, because I don't trust the singers to go up and use what I call a speech phonation. I want you to say a, e, I, o, u. And once they start feeling space back there, a lot of them start yawning, all of a sudden it's a, e, I, o, u, see? And then they start exaggerating. Well, be careful. I feel like I've got a bigger voice when I do that. See? Oh, so that's why I sang as a bass when I started. Sing like that. But it's all done in ingolata, they say, in the throat. See, I should be going. Doesn't sound like a bass. So now what do I get if I go? See? So the whole key that lets you do all these things is breathing. Breathing. Breathe the way Tetrasini said. Read the Caruso book. Read Lily Lehman's book. Or read my book, Fundamentals of Great Vocal Technique, where I just quote them all over the place, the great singers. I asked Fritz Wunderlich, how do you sing? He was a great singer. I said, how do you sing? I just sing like everybody else. I said, excuse me, no you do not. He said, what? I said, you sing better than everybody else. He laughed. He said, oh thank you, thank you. So what do you do when you sing? What kind of technique would you recommend? He said, I don't know what you want me to say. And he had no idea, but turns out he was a French horn player his whole life, and he had that, all that compression build up. Beniamino Gigi was a saxophonist. Johnny Martinelli, I mentioned earlier, was a clarinetist, right? Nikolai Gyarov played trombone. Joan Sutherland and Nellie Melba were ocean swimmers. So was Caruso. So was Franco Corelli. These were ocean swimmers. Kirsten Flogstad swam her whole life in those lakes they have up there in Scandinavia. So she was a great swimmer, and she said she finally learned how to breathe by swimming on her back. So she went like that, and she felt her lower back open up when she took a big breath. So she stayed with it. We know what happened to her. She went from a soubrette to the biggest Wagnerian soprano in history, right? So when you trace it, even I played tuba, so and harmonica. So there's usually some kind of exaggerated activity in the breathing among all these great singers. And then somebody comes along as a natural singer, and we don't know how in the world they did it. We don't know how they. Rosa Poncello only weighed 137 pounds and was 5'7". I'm sorry, 139 pounds and was 5'7". Now that is not a big woman to have had the greatest Italian soprano ever. See, it's interesting that both Caruso and Toscanini both thought that Luisa Tetrasini had the greatest female voice they ever heard, and of course Poncello was a protege of Caruso, and Toscanini certainly heard everybody, but they just thought that when Tetrazzini was on, there was nothing like her. There was just nothing like her. Her voice was fantastic. Now, what was her technique? Take the first drop of air in the lower rear quadrant of the lungs, lean the breath against the sternum, like leaning a ladder against the wall, and sing. Where is that? See? I'd like to do another video maybe on how heavy is the lean. Right? How heavy is the lean? Think about it. How big is your staccato? How big is the staccato? It's not a matter of singing dark and wide and thick. See? It's just a matter of using the breath on the punta del poncho all the time. And then you don't need to do this. What is that supposed to do? Okay? Why not this way? Why do I have to have my head? Well, actually, if you're an actor, you should have your head in any position you want it in. Okay? And if you're a ham, you sing up straight up at the balconies all the time. Anyway, you get your head up and sing to those people that are going to yell bravo for you. See? All right, I hope this will be a good one for you. It's something to think about anyway. And believe me, it works. I've been there, I've done that, and I've got people doing it all over the world very successfully. And when they do it, the critics like it, the people like it, and they get hired and they win competitions. And it doesn't mean that all I'm doing is passing on information I got from great singers, you know, and it still works. So very important that you stay with those people that sang a lot, sang big roles in big theaters over big orchestras for a long, long time. And they found out something in the technique that works. And the ones that were inaudible over the orchestra, no matter how beautiful their voices might be, so that means the resonance is too low. Simple. Okay? Okay, bye.